this morning. We have the Vice Mayor of the City of Lowell, Paul Rathayem. Paul, thank you very much. We have City Councilor Vesna Noon also joining us. From our state delegation, we have State Representative Rodney Elliott and State Representative Tara Hung. And thank you very much for being here. You know, when big things happen, when big decisions are made that benefit the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the Healey-Driscoll team comes to Lowell, Mass. This is not your first time here for special announcements, whether it be grant opportunities, awarding of accreditations, or today, one of the most important subjects that we have had to deal with in the past few months with the blistering cold winter, affordability of energy costs. It's no coincidence that the governor and lieutenant governor come here to Lowell, Massachusetts. So we have a number of speakers here that are going to address this, but it's with great pleasure and honor that I get to introduce Governor Maura Healey of the great Commonwealth of Massachusetts and speak on this very important subject. Madam Governor, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Good morning, all. It's great to be in Lowell. Thank you so much, Mayor Rourke, and to you, to City Manager Golden, to Rep. Elliott, to everyone in Lowell. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here this morning with the Lieutenant Governor and our team. Look, around the country, okay, people have seen their heating bills go through the roof. Families are feeling it, businesses are feeling it, all around the country. I'm proud to be here today to tell you that we're taking action as a state, okay? Several weeks ago, I charged my team. I said, what can we do to drive down people's heating costs? Because people, especially the last month or two, were absolutely flabbergasted by what they got in the mail. And there are different reasons for that. But my goal was to make sure we were exploring every single thing that we could do as a state government, not as a utility, but as a state government, to drive down people's bills. That's what today is announcing. We're making some announcements today on this, and we're also announcing some further actions that we hope to take up with the legislature on this. But from the outset, my job has been to focus on lowering people's costs. It's why we cut taxes when we took office 2 years ago. And even as we move into April, families around the state are going to benefit from the most generous child and family tax credit in the country. Seniors are getting double back in their pockets what they are used to receiving because we doubled the senior circuit breaker. We also made changes to the estate tax. We lowered capital gains. We've done different things, all about driving down costs. And I know that nothing... And we're working on driving down costs in other ways, all right? Every single day, I want you to know that this team, this administration, and I as governor am laser focused on lowering costs for people around Massachusetts. And one of the biggest budget busters that we've seen lately is what people saw on gas bills, electric bills, heating bills the last couple of months. So I'm here today with our fabulous Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs, Rebecca Tepper. I want to thank her and her team for the work that they did to put this together. I want to thank advocates who help people every day around the state take advantage of programs that save people real money. And that's what we're here talking about, saving money. I said for a long time, Massachusetts, you know, we were ranked recently #1 state in the country for education, for health care, for innovation. #1 state to live if you're a woman. #1 state to raise a family. #1 state to have a baby. The only thing holding us back is affordability on housing. That's why we've gone so hard at building more housing in this state. And that's why I saw it and was able to see through the legislature that $5 billion Affordable Homes Act. We've got to build more homes, okay? I love this region, Lowell. You know, I grew up the other end of the Merrimack River in New Hampshire. I don't want to see people moving to New Hampshire. I want to keep people here. So we're building more homes. Every single day, every single week, we're driving that. But we're also taking on this issue of heating and energy costs. So, you know, here's what I wanted to tell you. A few weeks ago, I told the Department of Public Utilities to act to lower costs. After we pushed on that, we got a 10% cut for gas bills in March and in April. We are glad about that, okay? So people are going to see 10% off starting March and April. But we're not stopping there. I also wanted to announce today, as part of our energy affordability agenda, a few things. First, we want to put cash back in people's pockets, some immediate relief. So on April, in your electric bill, you will now be getting a credit back of $50. I know that's not a ton of money compared to what people have been paying, but it is something. It is something, and every dollar counts. This is yours to keep, and between gas and electric savings, it means $220 million now, because of our actions. $220 million is going right back in the pockets of Massachusetts residents. Second, we're going to get more discounts to more people. Now, for a long time, folks with a certain income and very low income folks were able to qualify for discounts, seniors as well. I want to be the first state to expand that to the middle class, and that's what we're doing, okay? So what you're going to see is that for the first time, we are going to be the first state to give a discount rate to folks with middle-class incomes as well. We believe that discounts will save Massachusetts residents $2.5 billion over the next 5 years. Third thing we're going to do is we're going to do everything we can to take some of those extra charges off your bill. You know, you get that bill and it's got all these different line items. Well, what we're looking to do is to strip away and just take off some of those charges that people are used to seeing. And these charges have been added over the years for different reasons to cover the cost of building out the grid and different infrastructure. But we're taking a close look at them. And we're taking off. We're removing any, okay? We're getting the utilities to agree to remove any that just aren't absolutely necessary in this time right now when people are really feeling the pinch. Finally, we're also going to take steps to smooth out over the course of the year your month-to-month bills so that less of those spikes in prices will be there, which, you know, that's part of the issue, right? The bills are high, but it's also, they're coming out of left field. You didn't see it coming. And we want to eliminate that volatility so that families and people can plan their budget. We estimate that these steps taken together will save Massachusetts residents $5.8 billion over the next 5 years. Almost $6 billion we're going to save money back to you over the next 5 years. And we're not done. We're also going to work with our terrific colleagues in the legislature to file legislation that will get our state on a pathway to cheaper and more reliable energy for all. And as I said, affordability has been our focus from day one. It's an important moment to double down on our efforts, particularly when it comes to this aspect. We'll be pushing hard to lower costs. We're not being helped by the Trump administration on this. The tariffs that he has announced are taxes on the energy coming into our state, whether it's gas, hydro, anything else. So I continue to implore the federal administration and President Trump not to impose tariffs on the people of Massachusetts, New England, or across this country. And every day you will see us taking action, working to try to lower costs for people. And at this time, I'd like to invite our great Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs, Rebecca Tepper, to say a little bit more.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you all for being here today. I'm really excited to be in Lowell. We spent a lot of time at UMass Lowell doing great work in the energy space, and I'm always happy to be back here. Also want to thank my team. You know, when the governor says that she told us we wanted to look under every stone, find every possibility of where to find money for customers. Well, it was my team who are here, Undersecretary Mike Judge, and Director Melissa Lavinson, and Director Hardiman. All of them have been spending tremendous amount of time really thinking about creative and important ways to reduce customers' bills. So I want to thank them for their work. So really excited to be announcing this energy affordability agenda here today in Lowell. As I mentioned, we actually have used Lowell as a place where we can do pilots. And right now we have a really good pilot going on called the Home Modernization Navigator to help people bring more energy efficiency in their house and save money by electrifying. So we'll see how that pilot goes, and it's a real one-stop shop to make it easy for customers. But it's never been more important to advance new programs to bring down cost, and this winter has been a tough winter. I just was talking to our grid operator this morning, and they told me that 49 days of this winter were colder than normal. So when the weather is cold, we use more energy and our bills go up. So we need to think about other ways we can't control the weather, but we can think about other ways that we might be able to save money. And our residents really can't afford to wait on that. Our energy affordability agenda talks about what we're doing now, talks about what we can do in the middle term, and talks about what we can do in the long term to save customers money. So taking this multi-prong approach, to start, as the governor said, we're going to have $50 credit on the electricity bill, and it's the right thing to do to help customers on their budgets and to be good stewards of customers' money appropriately. We're also going to see a reduction in gas bills in the coming months, also bringing needed relief. Second, we're going to start making our bills more equitable. We're going to try to have more automatic enrollment in discount plans. Right now, we know that there are many people who are eligible for discount rates who are not on them. So we need to figure out ways to make it super easy to get on those discount rates. Tiered income rates, you give money to the people who need it the most, and a moderate income discount rate, as the governor talked about. So we are really grateful for our cooperation and partnership with the legislature and the DPU and the utilities, who are all helping us advance these innovative reforms. This is really Massachusetts energy leadership in action, and I think our energy community in Massachusetts is not a big one. We always talk about that everybody just goes around in circles, and people that works for you today, you'll be working for them in 10 years. But what that means is that we know how to work together, and we know how to come together in a time of crisis. So we're also going, as the governor said, to get some cost off the bills. I have been a long advocate, as people who have worked with me know, to not putting charges on the customer bill. And we really do need to find innovative ways to finance important programs without putting it on the bill. So right now we're taking off two charges. They're both having to do with the solar carve-out program. And the DPU is also looking at different ways to rein in the costly competitive supply industry and expensive infrastructure. Finally, dealing with the big price spikes. I too was surprised by my gas bill this last couple months, and my husband actually thought it was a mistake. But I'm like, oh no, it's not really a mistake. But what we're seeing is, what's so surprising is the up and down. And what part of that is our reliance on fossil fuels that have a global market, and we're relying on those global markets, which are then going up and down. So what we need is energy independence to allow us to be producing our own energy here to stabilize the prices. But there's other stuff that we can do, particularly at the DPU, having to do with timing and having to do with when people pay, it's creative mechanisms in order to smooth things out. And we have a really good working group right now thinking about that. And the other thing that's really going to stabilize prices, which we've been working on for a long time and we're really excited to actually have happen this year, which is the new hydro transmission line coming from Canada will be online this year. And that's going to finally, yeah. Thank you, Maine. Finally, thank you, Maine, and the courts. So we're going to save customers almost $200 million over the next 5 years with that line. So really excited about that. And we're also going to be looking at some innovative rate design that I think will help further reduce volatility. So this is just the start. We know that we have more work to do to help residents, and that's why we will be filing an energy affordability bill soon. And we have a lot of ideas, and I know lots of you out here also have a lot of ideas about how to bring down costs. And we're really excited to work with you and the legislature to execute for customers. And really, you know, the time really is now. The federal administration, as the governor said, is threatening tariffs, which could drive up bills and what you pay at the pump and what you pay for your heating cost. And Massachusetts and New England really do need to double down on our efforts to become energy independent. So thank you all for your partnership, and we look forward to pursuing savings for everyone. Thank you. And I'd like to call up the city manager, Tom Golden, who is actually also a big expert on energy issues. So maybe you'd like to talk to us a little better.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. That was many years ago. Telecommunication, utility, and energy with Mr. Judge actually was there. It's nice to see him. So it's very nice. But you know something was mentioned earlier today about pilot programs, and the city of Lowell is always very excited to be part of the pilot program. To the governor, to the lieutenant governor, Madam Secretary, thank you very much for choosing us to be here in the city of Lowell. Carl, thank you very much, CTI, for inviting us all here today, because so many of the residents here in the city of Lowell, you help day in and day out. And to CTI, I just want to say thank you very much for all that you do. As the councilors and the mayor and the delegation, Representative Hong, Representative Elliott, that are here today, we are absolutely dedicated to make sure that everybody throughout the city of Lowell is helped when it comes to these price spikes that we've been talking about. This is so vitally important to make sure. I mean, we talk about food, we talk about housing, and what next? The costs. When the costs start to get out of control, the ability for us to run a pilot program like this is so vitally important. With Catherine Moses, one of our energy folks, as well as Victor Vargas, who, by the way, the city of Lowell took a full-time job with Victor, and Victor has just helped hundreds upon hundreds of people throughout the city of Lowell to make sure that they can double down on the wonderful work that MassCEC does and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts does. Victor, thank you very much for everything that you're doing. We combine all these services, but with Mayor Rourke and with the councilors that are here today, the city of Lowell is the place that's going to make it happen, continue to make it happen. As the former chairman of TUE many, many moons ago, I'm very excited to see that we have the additional power coming down from our friends in Canada, that second line coming down. That was something that we all worked on together quite a few years ago, and it does take a long time to happen. But this is something to electrify not only the city of Lowell, which that's what we're 100% in favor of, but the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts. But this cannot happen without people who are thinking and people who are forward-thinking, like this administration. Governor Healey, our Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, they're really making things happen. The Secretary, I can tell you firsthand how hard that these folks work. Having worked in the legislature for a number of years, this is day in and day out of trying to make sure that everything is as affordable as it can be. You heard earlier, we are first in so many things, and this is something that we need to tackle. We are here in the city of Lowell to help with the affordable housing crisis, and we are here to help with this energy piece. So thank you very much for allowing us to be a pilot program. I now want to introduce Mary. Mary, one of our citizens of Lowell, is probably one of the smartest people when it comes to energy advocacy and when it comes to affordable housing. So thank you very much, Mary, for all that you do for the city of Lowell. Mary Wamby, please come on up and say a few words.
Good morning. Welcome to Lowell. So, Lowell residents, both homeowners and renters, have been struggling with soaring energy costs that affect all income levels, including the middle class. Many have expressed their frustrations on social media. Michaela, you know that, right? Sharing photos of high energy bills to show that this is a widespread issue. So energy advocates in the DPU's Energy Affordability Inquiry have been collecting personal stories that illustrate the heavy burden these costs place on households throughout Massachusetts. It's been heartbreaking to hear that families resort to energy limiting behaviors to manage their energy expenses. And sometimes, despite our role as rate case interveners, our ability to lower energy bills has been limited. Sometimes urgent calls for climate action have often overshadowed the concerns of low and moderate income households struggling with high energy bills. Households in gateway cities like Lowell face the added burden of potentially higher electricity costs if they consider switching from gas to heat pumps for climate reasons. But today, for me personally, it's a significant milestone. Under the Healey-Driscoll administration, a justice-centered approach is taking shape, showing a strong commitment to address climate change and support communities facing high energy bills. The fact that we are actually having this conversation in this setup is amazing. Today offers new hope for Massachusetts residents advocating for this critical issue. I'm so happy that we're actually leading. We're showing that you can have both climate action and also have affordable energy bills. And I just want to say thank you to the governor and the team for this work. Thank you.
All you do, and thank you again for hosting us this morning.
Good morning. Okay, this is an exciting event. I know you've had coffee and treats outside, so I'd like a little bit more enthusiasm. Good morning. All right. Thank you all for being here today. It's an honor to welcome you to Community Teamwork and be a part of such an important moment for our community. As a community action agency serving more than 60,000 people across the Massachusetts, we are thrilled to be a part of this announcement. Energy costs have been rising for years. Our residents have been feeling the effects more than anyone. The need for action has never been clearer, and that's why it's incredibly grateful to the Governor Healey, Lieutenant Governor, and the administration for their tireless work, also with Secretary Tepper, to addressing this urgent issue. But before we continue, I'd just like to take a moment to recognize our board of directors that are here today, our president, Sheila Och, our treasurer, Bernadette Wheeler, Rita O'Brien D., Marie Sweeney, Lynn Roderick, Mickey Cockrell, Sue Kim, Bopa Butselli, and Sotia Chemram. Their guidance and leadership is invaluable to this organization. And I also want to extend a heartfelt thank you to our leadership team here at Community Teamwork and the staff that specifically work within our fuel assistance and our energy conservation departments. I believe they're here, some of them are here today, but our leadership team is our Division Director, Connie Martin, our Deputy Division Director, Barbara Warren, our Director of Energy Conservation, Larry Revere, and our Assistant Director of Fuel Assistance, Linda Del Roche. Again, without them, the work that we do every single day would be impossible, and they are the backbone of our agency and the mission that we drive forward. We all know the toll is rising. We all know the toll that rising energy costs have on individuals and families across the Commonwealth. For too many, it's a constant struggle, forcing them to choose between heating their homes during the winter or putting food on the table. Here at Community Teamwork, we see this reality every single day. It drives us to do everything we can do to help the community and the residents that live here. In the past year alone, we've helped thousands of families avoid utility shutoffs or have their utilities restored. But the demand continues to grow. Over the last 5 months, we've processed over 9,000 applications for fuel assistance this year. This speaks deeply to the need that we're seeing in our communities. In addition to that, we've seen an increase in first-time applicants, over 10% increase year after year after year. The need is urgent and it's vital. In addition, our Energy and Conservation Department has weatherized hundreds of homes just this year alone to ensure that homeowners and tenants have lower energy costs. However, excuse me, at the Community Teamwork, we create social change through education, housing, and economic opportunities. We address this need by the community by providing services with integrity, equity, and compassion. This makes us uniquely positioned to understand not only the struggles of the families, but what they are facing on a day-to-day basis. And with that said, we are also not in this fight alone. The partnerships we built with the local organizations, the local municipalities, our elected officials, and the unwavering support of our stakeholders has allowed us to make a real difference in this community. As the governor said earlier, she grew up at the opposite end of the Merrimack Valley. I also grew up in a neighboring town, and we spoke a little bit ago about how we actually went to rival high schools. While we were rivals back then, I'm proud to be a strong partner with her in the administration and addressing not only the challenges of the Commonwealth, but also the successes of the Commonwealth. Thanks to the governor's leadership, the lieutenant governor, and Secretary Tepper, we have the opportunity to tackle these issues head on, and the governor's initiatives are a direct response to the needs of this community and across the Commonwealth, and we are deeply grateful for that. At this point in time, I would like to call up the governor back up to the podium to take any questions regarding these initiatives. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks for the great work that you and everybody at CTI does. And we are one team here in terms of doing all we can to drive down people's costs. And I hope you get a moment, and for those in the media, make sure you cover like the stuff that's on the placards. This is what I'm talking about. When I asked the team to come up with real stuff, there it is. So you take a look at what your average April bill was going to be, and you can see how the things that we've done have resulted in savings, and big savings. You're talking a couple $100 off somebody's bill, or in some instances $90 off somebody's monthly bill. That's what I'm talking about, and I really want to thank the team for digging in to identify what we could do here. And also you can see on this chart here, when we're talking about some of the programs that money's been collected on, okay? And they've funded certain important initiatives around energy efficiency and around building out the grid. Now we're going to take some of that pot of money and we're going to put it back in people's pockets, okay? And that's also going to help lower costs. So I just wanted to make sure people had an understanding of that. Any questions about this on topic? Good morning.
When you and I spoke a couple weeks ago, you talked about mass save, because mass save and the gas system enhancement plan on gas bills are two of the big drivers. They're state-mandated programs. I know you would need maybe legislation to change them. Are you open to changing how they're funded? Because they're funded based on usage, and when usage goes up, people end up paying a lot more into those programs.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Mass Save, Ben. Let me just explain to folks. Mass Save, it's a program that the legislature put in years ago. It's actually served an important purpose. And in fact, if we didn't have Mass Save, our electricity bills would be 14% higher than what they are, okay? So Mass Save has been serving its purpose. That said, I did a few weeks ago ask that we take a look at that, and in this moment that we're in of high prices and volatility, and that's why we saw some savings come off of Mass Save. I've also said that we should be open to looking at any and all programs, and that's what we're doing going forward, together with the DPU, to see if there are things that we should change or eliminate or reduce in the time that we're in.
Governor, are there other specific charges or programs you're targeting to be eliminated?
Rebecca, do you want to say anything to that?
We're actually literally going down each charge and analyzing whether it's something that can be modified, whether it's something that can go.
Yeah, come on up here, Secretary.
Yeah. So we're literally going down the bill and looking at every single charge and trying to decide whether something might be modified or whether something is no longer has served its purpose, or should stay the same. So we're in the process of doing that analysis now.
Was the solar carve-out already coming off the books? You guys noted that, but I guess I'm trying to determine whether that's something you're phasing out now or is already being phased out.
The solar project would have phased out at a certain point, but we're phasing it out now.
We accelerated it.
Thank you. We accelerated it, and we looked at,
the host of programs. We've got alternative compliance programs that have been put in place by the legislature over the years. They've served an important purpose, as I said, in terms of building out clean energy infrastructure and helping in that way. But with that fund there, we thought it made sense, good fiscal management. Okay, let's take some of that money and give it back to ratepayers right now in this moment, and that's what we're doing.
Governor, can you talk a little bit about the automatic discount and then what's that going to look like for the middle class? And kind of give some examples of what type of benefits.
Sure, and I'll invite Secretary Tepper up to speak, but, everybody's getting hammered on bills, right? Every business is, every resident, no matter what obviously, if you can afford it, that's a different thing. You're not going to feel the hurt as much, but everybody is seeing higher bills. We thought it was important to not just expand protections for lower income folks, but to just expand the number of residents who would see discounts and have access to a regular discount program. So that's what we're working on right now. More details to come on that. I don't know what Secretary Tepper is prepared to share right now, but this would be the first time that any state in the country has provided a program to provide discounts specifically to middle-income folks in their state.
What income level? What number?
We're going to get more specifics on that.
Governor, you mentioned reducing or getting rid of some unnecessary charges, we call them, on our bills. How are the utility companies reacting to that?
Well, Secretary Tepper, why don't you come up and speak? No. Look, we're in this together, okay? Everybody's got to give. Everybody's got to work, and I have been hard on the utilities in this moment. Part of the reason we're working through, and I don't have a specific number for you now, is we've got to work that through in terms of what makes sense and how do we optimize the greatest level of discount for the greatest number of people and continue to keep operations going.
I think that the utilities heard the governor loud and clear. And so they're coming to the table and helping us think about different ways to reduce costs.
One follow-up question to that, sorry. You also talked about on gas bills, the 10% cut. So those are only for the next 2 months, and then residents are supposed to make up and pay back those costs over the summer, right? Those are deferred?
So no, that's not. We expect that all of it or almost all of it will not be deferred and will be real cuts. Yeah.
But that's not the way it is right now, right? They're set up currently as a deferred plan, originally with interest, now not with interest.
Because this is a sort of wonky, but because the DPU issued cuts to the Mass Save program, which was already being seen in people's bills, that cut now will save people money right away. So not deferred.
$50, that's 1 month, right?
$50 1 month in the electric bill.
How soon some of these other ones can they expect them to actually become reality? I assume each one has a different way it can happen, and when can they wish list real?
Well, the whole thing is a 5-year plan, but we're going to, as soon as we can implement something, we're going to implement it, and I think this new legislation will help us do that.
Well, I
It's a
think
5-year
the
plan.
savings is recognized. The
Over
6
5 years.
Okay, so just $6 billion over 5 years, okay? The programmatic changes are gonna happen as soon as we can make it happen. And again, I was before you guys, 6 weeks ago, banging on the utilities to take action. I asked my team to take action. We're here today with some action, right? We got the utilities to lower and provide a discount on everybody's bills. We got $50 going back in the pocket of every ratepayer in the state this month. And we're going through the process of eliminating as quickly as possible program charges on people's bills so people don't have to continue to pay that. I also expect to be filing legislation in the very near term and work with legislative colleagues on other things that we can do. It is good news about hydro coming in. Again, I pray that we don't see tariffs on those electrons because that would be counter to the purpose of lowering costs because, that alone was going to save us a lot of money and bring needed energy into the region.
What do you see the critics who say that the real bugaboo, the real problem is the Healey administration's hostility to natural gas?
Oh, God. I know people say a lot of things, and people say a lot of things that just aren't true. Let me tell you about that, where back when I was Attorney General, my job is to protect ratepayers, all right? Whether you're a homeowner, or whether you're a business owner, at the end of the day, my view was it should be utilities and private equity companies that should pay for building out infrastructure like pipelines that's going to yield them boatloads in return, right? And that's actually what the law here is in Massachusetts. Don't pass it on the backs of homeowners and business owners. So that was my position. And incidentally, they decided not to construct because maybe they saw that they didn't want to pay for it. At the end of the day, a reason that we're in the jam that we're in, and this is not limited to Massachusetts. I talk to governors around the country, and especially in the Atlantic, mid-Atlantic on up. Everybody's dealing with this. We don't have true energy independence. We're too subject to what's going on with international global markets, right, around oil and gas. What did you see jack up all of a sudden? Your gas bills, okay? And part of the reason I'm so frustrated that a federal administration would take wind off the table, that's a source of our own, homegrown, right here. We're not a state that drills oil, right? We don't have that here. We're not, there are some states that do that. What does Massachusetts have? We have the Saudi Arabia of wind right off our shores. We've got some of it churning already. We've got other projects in deployment. That's going to be a game changer. That's going to drive down people's bills for businesses, the cost of doing business, and for homeowners. It's really important that we lobbied hard to get that hydro down from Canada. We need everything, I've said everything should be on the table when it comes to energy sources in Massachusetts. We shouldn't be the federal government and the Trump administration should not be taking any options off the table when it comes to energy independence. That's true American independence. I don't want to be subject to the wills of Russia and international markets, right? I want us to be able to take care of our own, do what we need to do as a region, not just as a state, and there's a way for us to do that. But in the interim, we've got to deal with, what's right before us, and that is, making some of the announcements and changes that we did today. Well, let me give you the specific figures on what we do have for gas coming in, because people don't probably realize we actually bring in a fair amount of gas already. Do you want to speak to that, Rebecca?
Massachusetts right now is keeping the Everett facility open. So we are providing a significant amount of natural gas through liquefied natural gas to the entire region.
Through ship, but not through a pipeline.
Through ship, that's right.
We have a huge natural gas surplus in Pennsylvania. Should there be a pipeline built into New England?
Pipelines are, the issue that we have in New England is that there are, for a few days of the year, prices are high, maybe 7 days. You don't build a gigantic pipeline for 7 days a year.
That's it, one question. Governor, quick question. Carly with NBC. So I know my colleague Christina mentioned the 10% cuts that are coming from PPU from March to April. A lot of people we talk to, they say this is, coming in during spring when they're not going to need the gas as much, and they're just really frustrated that now they're left with these thousands of dollars in bills. They are choosing to, not turn on their feet right now. They're choosing to not pay certain other bills because these bills are just so high. They've lost kind of hope. I mean, what message can you send to them?
That we're taking steps today to lower their bills and to lower what they owe. I mean, yeah, they've got bills that they can't afford to pay right now, and they're going to see a discount going forward. They're also going to see $50 back. They're also going to see going forward money coming off their bill. There are also programs that people can participate in that they may not be aware of, but that's part of the great work that CTI and other organizations do, getting people connected with resources so that they can help pay those bills.